All right, we are rolling. Part 2 of the drive. I don't know whether I'll stitch these or not. I think I'll upload them as separate videos. So left into the right hand. I don't know. I may be one of those people that's been a little too particular, and that's fine. I mean, really, the car was safe to do what it just did there. But if you're following the actual rules of the road, which I would think you want an automated taxi cab service to do, the left should have been completed into the closest lane, because that leaves this lane available for anybody who is making a right-hand turn from the other direction. There was nobody making a right-hand turn from the other direction, so technically, was there an issue with what it did? Not necessarily. It was aggressive, but really and truly, as you can see here, it probably wants to get into the left lane anyway, so why go left into the right lane just to get back into the left lane? So that to me is, when that gets fixed, I think that particular issue gets addressed. I think that's going to go a long way for me into feeling like this is really starting to get ready for prime time. I think that, and the other would be the hesitations with speed, right? Like it should be a more confident, dedicated, like, this is the speed we're going, this is what we're doing. You'll hear other people talk about it in their videos where it's like the car will speed up to the speed limit. Sometimes it'll even speed up and pass the speed limit, only to slow back down to the speed limit. And sometimes when it slows down to the speed limit again, it's kind of abrupt. So I ding that a little bit, what we just did there. You know, again, that's one of those intersections where it kind of widens out, and I think the car has difficulty like judging the lane. And so it kind of cut the edge of that left-hand turn lane just a touch. When there's no cars in that left-hand turn lane, not much to be worried about. But when you have cars approaching in the left-hand turn lane, that probably makes it a little uncomfortable for the oncoming driver and for passengers in this vehicle as to why you're taking such an aggressive line down the road. Again, some of this is just minor tweaks that I think they can fix, and once they fix it, it'll go a long way to making it just feel a lot more comfortable for anybody who's in the car. I think that, and navigation data. I think the navigation data needs to be better. It's 95% good, but then there are these weird scenarios where the navigation maps the car in such a way that it's like, that makes zero sense. Like, instead of being able to make a left-hand turn at a light, it'll go down, do a U-turn, and come back and make a right-hand turn. Like, it has the data, it knows that there's a light there, there's even a turn lane there. So here's a scenario where I would get over. One, because we're going to have to get over anyway, but two, knowing that this truck wants to get over. That being said, there is a car kind of to our, or there's another truck to our right, but I think that's more of a human behavior. In other words, like, the car kind of, yeah, see how it's doing it now, so now it's going to slow down to get over. But like, a human driver might have accelerated a little bit just to be able to get into a clear spot to make a right, or slowed down like it did here to get over to the right. I think it decided to finally get over to the right lane just because by default it seems to pick the lane that has the least number of cars in it, and it'll seem to do that regardless of what the next move is. And I think that's also kind of a janky thing that needs to be fixed, which is, you know, if you're talking about getting over to the right lane just to get back over to the left lane in a quarter mile, what's the point of that maneuver? Especially if you're just going the speed limit or around the speed limit. It's not like you get around one car. It's especially, I usually keep this in like average or chill mode, right? So it's like, to me, that's not average behavior or chill behavior. That's more aggressive behavior. So right now, I'm not sure that chill, average, or aggressive really has any true implications in terms of the way the car drives. I think you can put it in whatever mode you want and it won't really make a difference. So, but that's just been my experience. So we'll be making the right up here. It may have to yield to traffic, and there is traffic that does cut straight through at speed. So they'll be doing 45, 50 miles an hour. Well, we got the green to our favor, so no real need to change. So let's see, which way are we taking it? All right, so get on 364. So a little bit of a highway type driving. Completely fine with the way the car handled itself with getting over. Speed 60 for the road. We're doing 53 currently. Looks like it should be able to merge over with no issues. It'll need to get over one more. Handle that appropriately. This maneuver I don't agree with. It doesn't need to get into this lane. And we're not going to be going that much faster than this Ford, if we are at all. So I think it just made life more difficult on itself by doing what it just did. Because we're going to be taking this next exit that's coming up, 8A. Just giving the scroll wheel, giving it the flexibility to go a little bit faster if it wants to. But yeah, don't know why I made the decision to get over into this lane. Didn't need to. We're taking this exit. And so usually it'll wait until like a half mile, and I don't appreciate that either. I think that's a mistake when you have situations like this. We've got traffic ahead of us. We know we're taking this exit. Like, I feel like it needs to add a little bit more thought, a little bit more distance, if you will. Like it's only thinking about a half mile ahead instead of thinking a little bit longer. Yeah, so 0.6 of a mile for the exit, half mile, we're getting over. That's the other little fault that I would give it, is that I feel like it needs to think, the programming needs to think a little bit more, like engage itself to be thinking, you know, a mile ahead instead of what do I need to do half a mile from the exit. Especially when you get into like rush hour traffic, doing what the car did during rush hour traffic could be a pain in the ass if cars don't want to let you over. And again, because it's capped at 63 miles an hour on that auto max, or on the max speed, it won't completely act human. It won't completely act human in respect to, like, a human might say, you know what, I'm going to bump it up to 66 real quick so I can get into this opening. The car's default is always to brake to get over. And so with a human, I think you would have, it would choose either option. Like it would say, oh, there's an opening in front of me, let me speed up to get that opening, versus let me brake and get over. But again, that's just depends on the circumstances. One thing that's true, like I don't know if you can see in the rearview mirror, but it'll certainly gap every car at a stoplight. If you're the first car in the stoplight and there's nothing in front of it, it'll accelerate to speed fairly quickly, leaving a nice gap between you and all the other cars. So I guess that makes it easier to make maneuvers like this and get over a lane without having to worry about traffic. So hands-free this whole way so far, no intervention so far, and at this point I would not expect any interventions. I've said it before in other videos, once I get to this portion of the drive, that little section where I kind of have to maneuver from the left to the right, so you have to take the exit and then get over to the right to be able to take this back road towards my neighborhood. That can be tricky depending on how busy it is traffic-wise, but once we get onto this road, and I don't think I've ever really had any major issues to contend with. So, in fact, I think it freaks people out sometimes because I'll shoot these videos, and if there's cars at the intersection, they'll see that I'm completely hands-free. Like I for the purpose of the video, I try and keep my hands in frame, which at the same time I almost feel like I move my hands around too much and it's distracting. but I just really want you guys to kind of see that it is doing this without, all I have to do is just kind of keep my eyes on the road. The camera picks it up, and it does what it needs to do. So close. I mean, I'm not a software engineer by any means, but man, it feels like we're this close. I'm not even worried about like parking in a parking lot or driveway scenario just yet. Like, to me, it would be a huge milestone just to be able to get in the car, and then once you get going, like as you're getting out of your neighborhood or whatever, turning it on and just never having to interact with the steering wheel or the brake or anything again. That would be a huge milestone. And then you can kind of lock out all those other extra little things like, hey, let's get the car to park, or let's get the car to actually go into the parking lot of this store and park at a place that makes sense. If you're saying you want to go to Target, right, then it's going to park in the section of the parking lot close to Target, you know. Or even better, drop me off at the front door and then you can park yourself, right? Like, let it finish the journey of parking the car. But I don't trust the summon feature or anything like that just yet. Yeah, I've seen plenty of videos where people are not having any success with that. So I won't even test it at this point. It just doesn't seem like it's even worth spending the time on until they're willing to do some updates. Here's my weird intersection. I have a car behind me, so unfortunately they're going to deal with it. Yep, there's the hard brake again. There's the second brake. And are we going to brake a third time? No. Okay, so 2 brakes, and then we make the turn. And if any users are on 12.5, I really want to see that get fixed. I really hope. I've seen some videos where people seem to be saying that it's better, and I really hope that's fixed. That would be awesome. So, all right, and nope, it's gonna turn into my neighbors again. So it really does want to park the car. It just unfortunately doesn't want to go far enough. I know. And trip. All right, guys, thanks for riding.